welcome to Shop Talk Live, episode number 198. We've got John Tatro joining Barry and I today, where we're going to talk about how much lumber is too much lumber to have on hand, building a workbench with only one stretcher that you can sit at like a desk, whether one listener should set up shop in his basement or garage, and a new take on the ever controversial round tenon / flat tenon sides. And also, John Tatro tells us about his new obsession with his cordless power planer. But first, I want to just say thank you to everyone who has been coming up to us at events and guild meetings and open houses and telling us that you've joined Unlimited, Fine Woodworking Unlimited, because of the podcast. And it doesn't go unnoticed. It's a big thing for us because we do this podcast because, first off, we enjoy doing it. Second off, because we want to share our love of woodworking with all of you. And we want to share the awesome content that we work on all day at our day jobs with you, our listening audience. So whether it's via the magazine or via the website and videos, we're really proud of the work that we do, and we think that this podcast is a great way of telling you about that work. And if you really want to get the most out of this podcast, you're probably going to want to become an Unlimited member so you can see all of the great content that we reference and that we talk about. But also, that's, again, what is keeping the doors open to this building. That is what's paying the bills. Website memberships and print subscriptions, that is what is paying for this free podcast. So we do 26 to 30, 32 episodes a year of this podcast, not only because we have fun, but because we want you to know about what we've been working on both the magazine and the website. So if you haven't become an Unlimited member yet, head on over to the website. I'll post a link down in the doobly-doo to become a member. All right, on with the show. So a line in one of these questions got me thinking yesterday, and you'll see where it comes up later, but people ask us questions as though we're pro woodworkers.
He used to be.
You used to be a pro woodworker.
I was starting to be a woodworker and didn't do it long enough to be pro.
You were like a pro artiste.
You've both had commissions, though.
Yeah, but like...
And you have a portfolio, John.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
only,
really
I only
good.
did it for like 3 years.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, before here. I was building things before that, but I was doing it self-employed for 3 years before.
And was that your sole source of income?
Mm-hmm.
That and lottery tickets. He was really lucky for 3 years straight. Wait, so what were you going to say? What was your
Counterfeit
thought?
Girl Scout cookies. Well, okay, so what I was going to get at is that we're not necessarily pro woodworkers.
Right.
I've come up with the term.
Hit
We
me
are
with
professional hobbyist woodworkers. We get paid to like hobby woodwork.
This is true.
We hang out with the world's greatest woodworkers.
Yeah. Through osmosis, we're professional.
The amount I've learned from Steve Latta just by hanging out with him.
But I've never done one bit of inlay.
Right.
Yeah, so I think everyone just needs to, there needs to be a little...
You just erode
what is
the purpose of the podcast, or like our bona fides. Like, when people ask us, like, we're pro. We are not.
We're not. We have no idea what we're doing, but
it's really fun.
we know a lot of people
really
who do. Was it the last? There wasn't an outro that I used, or no, it was the last podcast where Mike just says like woodworking's awful. And I really wanted to do a remix of that, but I couldn't. All right, let's answer some questions.
Mm-hmm. Like we're pros. Like we know stuff.
If they're dumb enough to ask us,
that's true. Yeah,
we're dumb enough to answer. All right. Question number 1 is from Jordan. I've been offered what seems to be too good of a deal to be true. A gentleman from my church has 600 board foot of rough sawn cherry, 1,000 board foot of walnut, and 70 board foot of white oak.
Is this gentleman Tatro?
Shh. I don't have that much walnut. I wish I did.
And way more oak than that. The boards are 8 foot long. The vast majority are 4/4, with about 20 boards of cherry and walnut at 12/4. The lumber is 40 years old, stacked beautifully in its barn. He's offered it to me at $4.60 a board foot. I'm a novice woodworker that is trying to step up to the next level. Is this a miracle or too much and going to bog me down?
Should we ask the guy who's currently bogged down?
Yeah, I knew what I was going to say right off the bat for this one.
What?
Just reading it stressed me out, thinking about the tarps like flapping in the breeze right now and that upkeep, trying to keep that really nice wood nice.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the biggest thing is, does he have a place to store it?
Well,
that's a lot. That's a lot of lumber.
Did either of you do the math?
$7,682.
How did we come up with such a different number?
Whoa.
That's what I was wondering. I saw your face. I was like, wait, did I do math bad? What did you come up with?
8,280. Wait, what did I do? I did 1,800. Oh, I rounded up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a big investment.
Yeah.
So is it all or nothing? Or can he go pick and choose?
Well, yeah. I mean, if this guy's got that much wood that he's trying to sell, first off, I don't think the price is that good.
I think for the walnut, that's really good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but walnut right now is $7. By the time he gets to use it, all of the 1,000 board foot of it's going to be $2 a board foot because everybody's going to be like looking for reclaimed ash.
You're right. That price isn't.
It's
incredible. I mean, it's good.
It's a good price.
So what did you say walnut is now? Like 7?
It's 7 and change. 8, yeah.
And how about cherry?
That's about 4. Well,
I would have said 520-ish, right?
I mean, that's an okay price for cherry.
It's a really good deal for berry.
Way much more. No,
he's too dumb to know any different.
And I'm 0 board feet. You get that for free, baby.
White oak, it's good. It's a good price for I started thinking, what does the price need to be for me to buy 1,800 board feet of wood? And I'm like at $1 a board foot.
But
it's a big investment.
But it's a good price if you buy in bulk, right? Like if you go to Costco, the prices aren't that much cheaper, like per individual thing, but you get 40 things when you buy in bulk, and you're saving.
But see, the bulk is what scares me.
I know.
I like picking my board. I like looking at 1,000 board feet and buying 20.
Right. So that's another thing. He's mentioned this 12/4, and my eyes got big. But do you have the tooling to handle this stuff? Like, can you resaw these 12/4 boards? Can you make good use?
12/4, you can just rip them and use them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, actually, fair. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's just a lot to store. That's the first thing I'd think about. It's been stored in a barn, beautifully stacked. Like that's about as good as it gets. Like when you find that kind of wood, it's dried very nicely and under.
You would trade them like an old tractor plow for it.
Oh yeah, go for a trade first. Yeah.
So is it a jerk move to buy it and resell it? Because that walnut you can get.
Yeah,
that's a part-time job, man.
I guess.
Again, but what is this?
But if you could double the return on the walnut, if not double, but if it's selling for $720 and you get it for $460, you can make some good money back.
Selling at $720 being picked through.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a no.
Too good of a deal to be true. No. Not too. Wait. I didn't understand that sentence, did I? Not good enough of a deal for me. I think at $1 a board foot, I'm not joking, $1 a board foot, I would maybe think about it.
You'd have to build something to store it, right?
Yeah. You have enough wood.
I don't know, man. Tarps are cheap. You know that.
It's such a pain, though, to keep,
and you
keep replacing them because you think you're going to use it faster than you do.
Yeah.
And then working with reclaimed wood, I get it when I can get it. And then you just have too much you're trying to keep track of.
So how many board feet do you think you have stashed?
I have no idea. I could fill my house probably if I put it all in there. It's a small house though. That's not a good example.
For people just listening on
Like a tractor trailer truck full, probably.
Oh my goodness.
In random different piles. Some of my in-laws right now, because I had to move that. So yeah, if he has a good place to store it, maybe, but that's a lot of lumber. If you're not doing it professionally, they'll take a long time to go through it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm in no way with this one. If it's everything, no way. What if you could talk them down? What if you talk them down to like $2.80 a board foot?
What if you talk them down to $1 a board foot?
All right, that's your firm there.
I'm at $1, man. But I'm really good at walking away from purchases like beautiful bandsaws that I should buy.
You mean that guitar that you played for like 20 minutes after seeing the bandsaw? Like, I really did. Good at walking away.
It was there last week too.
Really?
Walked away.
Probably played
At
it for
the flea
30
market?
minutes.
No, I didn't.
He walked away, a single tear ran down his eye.
There was like a
sad.
really nice old Gibson archtop at the flea market that, I mean, he wanted too much for it, but it was a great guitar. All right. So Barry says, talk him down.
No, I do not want whatever that is.
That's
Nearly
definitely
1,700
a Barry's apartment full.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could walk him with a circ on, but that's not all the room I have.
Yeah, I'd say walk away, Jordan.
Unless he has a barn just to move it into.
How much for the barn around the wood?
Because we don't know. He doesn't say where he's going to store it.
That's true.
Gonna bog you down.
But
All
yeah,
right.
I think it would too.
Question number 2 from Ken. I have built a first workbench. It was roughly inspired by Bob Van Dyke's bench, but it has some variations. I used only one set of front and back stretchers, attaching them using large bench bolts. The stretchers are installed about a third of the way from the floor. It seems very rock solid so far. Down the road, do you think I will regret having only one pair of stretchers? Will the 5 3/4 inch wide stretchers serve well, or do you think I should have built and installed another pair of stretchers at the top?
I think that all depends how it's attached to the top.
Well,
Like if it's
you used about 400 board foot in the stretchers of your workbench. So
Never calculated that. But I mean, if it's a solid top and we don't know if the legs come up and attach to the top, like if it's a half lap, like right into the
how
top.
does the BVD bench
That's what I'm trying
attach?
to imagine. I can't because all the stretcher. I'm trying to remember.
We've only moved them like 17 times.
There's got to
Are
be
they just-
aprons down there. No?
because I pulled up the image and the short aprons sit 3 inches below the top, and the long aprons are about a third of the way up from the floor. I don't.
So just tenons up into the top or
No,
Or nothing.
because
I wanna
it's,
say
it's
it's like-
MDF. He's not going to go through that trouble. Sorry.
Are they like angle brackets? We have flipped these benches upside down.
Yeah.
angle brackets?
How to build your first workbench.
Because for me, having the one stretcher, like if it feels rigid, then it's rigid, And with that wide stretcher, it starts a third of the way from the floor, but at that width, it's meeting about the middle of the bench or middle
Yeah.
of the legs.
Mike has said one time that, a double wide stretcher is equivalent to 2 stretchers.
Okay.
Oh, that shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how the heck does it attach? It's not showing me.
We can't see it
Who
either
laid
for
this
those
out?
listeners.
I really like the idea of one set of stretchers because I sit at my bench like a desk. My bench has one set of stretchers, or the bench I'm borrowing from Fine Woodworking right now has one set of stretchers. And I sit at it like a desk and do little fiddly work at it. So I really do like the idea. Like, I totally understand his notion of like just have one set. I know Bob Miller, Mass Woodworks, he has one set, but I think he's got like huge, 5-inch Rubo style legs or something like that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a really good idea to me.
It's a good point that if you want to slide in close to it,
Yeah.
but you could add one at the back, just one.
What?
So BVD does have long stretchers flush with the underside of the top. Does he bolt through
Yeah, they
them?
must be lag bolted down or something. I don't know why I can't figure this out. This one is smarter than me.
But that bench is so... The BVD bench is
solid.
It's solid, and it's so... You could easily slap on a stretcher at the top if you needed to secure the top down better, or down the road you find like heavy-duty hand planing is made so.
Well,
After the fact, after it's built, you could add it later.
Yeah, you could easily add, especially if you're just lag bolting things on.
Right, yeah, he doesn't have to do the dado or like the half lap that Bob does at the top.
Because eventually, too, this bench, when it does get rickety enough that it needs it, you will be less precious about it, and you won't care, and you will just slap a random pallet board across the back of it with drywall screws and move on.
Yeah.
You know? So I say good call with the one stretcher. And when I build my bench, I might do the same thing and slap it together with drywall screws. But all right. So
no.
What? I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second. A new bench, Ben.
I go back and forth between who cares about the workbench and wanting to build like the beautiful
it's so
museum
fun.
piece workbench.
That's
Well, not museum piece, but like solid is solid.
Solid is solid.
And you don't have to do it again.
But why are you doing it again?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you mean?
If you overbuild it to start, then yeah.
Yeah, but
don't
you're
think about
building
it
a
again.
second bench right now.
No.
Your maple thing.
Your huge
it's
slab.
built. It is built.
No, you didn't build it already, did you?
Right.
Which one?
You had that 4-inch slab that you were going to build a workbench out of. You started building it.
Yeah, I actually handed that off, passed that along to someone else
That's right.
who wanted to build one. Because I have one. I don't have the space to put it.
Yeah.
That was more because I wanted to make that joint. And I always wanted to do like a single slab top. But,
Gotcha.
yeah. Let it go.
Yeah. Started milling it and realized this sucks.
No, that's fun, actually. It was pretty flat. It was surprisingly flat.
Really? 'Cause that was a wild looking board.
Yeah, it was 2 feet wide, 4 inches thick, 8 feet long. One chunk. Wow. But it stayed pretty flat.
Took the three of us to move it.
I know.
Yeah.
And a pallet jack.
Skateboarding on it. That was pretty fun.
That was a good time.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barry was good. You had good balance there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wide surface.
All right, let's talk about our all-time favorite techniques of all time for this week. And you two have to go first because I was going to think of it this morning and I had other stuff happen, and I don't have a technique yet. So I'm not going to pay attention to either of you while I come up with a technique.
He's going to say one of ours. That's what's going to happen. There you go. Okay.
Barry?
Pre-finishing. It just makes life so much easier. I remember the first time, well, it dawned on me, but it was told to me. I was building something, and I was talking to my mom about how much of a pain in the butt it was going to be to finish it. She goes, wait, you assembled it, and now you have to finish it? I said, well, yeah. She goes, why didn't you just do it while they were still parts? I said, shut up, Mom.
Your mom's different from most moms.
She's, yeah. So, but from then on, it just makes life so much easier. And I watch videos on YouTube of woodworking, and then people just slap on like oil at the end, and I cringe inside because it makes life so much easier, harder working into corners and making sure there are no runs when the thing's built. Just
What
do
was
it
the
beforehand.
piece? What was the piece you were making when she said that?
I think it was a decorative frame and panel thing.
Yeah, that's the thing I was thinking of. Frame and panels is like a great example to do that with.
Yeah.
Do your panel first, and you're not seeing that finish when the panel shrinks or lack of finish.
I love just going around the house in the wintertime and just seeing the little zip right next to one side of unpainted wood. And I constantly think, oh, I need to come back in the wintertime with a paintbrush and touch that up, but it never happens.
And depending on what finish you use, you can just glue pops off.
But you know what, man? You're a liar.
It pops off better.
Okay,
It
so
is not
so
foolproof.
yesterday, Barry comes into my cubicle This is fine woodworking.
Okay, you're letting people behind the curtain.
Barry comes in my cubicle and goes, hey, man, you have a chisel? Which
You're like,
nobody has a
"What
chisel
size?"
in their cubicle. I actually didn't, no. And but you were trying to get glue off of something.
Yeah.
And at lunchtime you said
It does. Okay, I was using a knife, which not the best tool, but so glue doesn't like magically just pop off. You know, it's not. Remember those candies on the rolls of paper, those little dots? It's not that easy.
those were
how
called
are those
dots.
good?
Were they just called dots?
How are those good? How are those something that you got excited about?
You
Like
were
now,
7 and it was sugar.
now as an adult, you look at that and go, kids are so dumb.
I don't know.
They're still fun to pop off.
Right. Just like,
You eat half paper and half sugar.
I know,
but
you
it's
just
still,
dealt with it. Yeah. I mean, at least I'm getting half sugar, baby. You know, it's like. Okay, so the like shellac wash coat doesn't make it that easy. They don't pop off like candy dots, but it's still
Unfortunately.
And I know, unfortunately, it's still easier though than bare wood. You know, you're not tearing out fibers.
Yeah.
So
I've waited way too long, like a week, to get the glue, the squeeze out off and torn up fibers, and just hated myself. So yeah.
So like thinking about when I can finish before I assemble is now part of my like building strategy. Like thinking through a project. Okay, cut these joints, pre-finish the thing, assemble, pre-finish those things. I love it.
And you get to the that's one of the satisfying things too, is getting to the end of the project and most of your finish is already done.
Oh yeah.
For me, I get to that point, I'm just like, oh, now I got to do the finish. And it's like you already see what it's going to look like, and it feels kind of done.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're not even close. So, yeah, I like that part of it too.
You pre-finish though.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
When
definitely
do you
panels.
pre-finish? When do you not?
Like inside of a cabinet where it's going to take forever to dry out and stink for a while. If it's poly. And panels, frame and panel stuff.
I don't do it nearly often enough because I'm always afraid I'm going to dent the wood, or I'm going to, like in assembly, then you're like, oh man, like I've got finish on this. I can't just throw a clamp on it. And it does affect the way that the rest of the build goes.
That's true. I do feel more precious about it.
But watching, when we were doing a video with Mike, watching him just finishing is never a thing. It's just I finish this part, wipe it with shellac, move on. And so I do have like a little squeeze bottle of 50% seal coat. So like a 1 pound cut of shellac that just sits on my bench. And it really is nice I actually use that a lot for, I want to protect something. Just wipe it on, not even as the finish, just to protect it from squeeze out, just to protect it from whatever, just, okay, this is going to be sitting here a while. Let me just put a layer of seal coat on it, just to slow down the moisture transfer. And because it's just sitting right there, and it's a 1 pound cut of shellac, so it's just a little bit, just enough to add some protection while I finish things up.
And you get to see the wood grain too. That's fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's your technique?
So I think I mentioned this to you guys already, but that rigid cordless power planer.
Yeah.
Using that thing to flatten a slab. I know it's weird.
What did you flatten with it?
So I bought it to do like a specific task on the house. Like there's an exterior porch with a half wall, and
I thought it was that
cap board
bench, but okay.
Yeah, so this cap board on top of the half wall of the exterior porch needed a bevel. Like the old one rotted out because it was flat and water just sat there. So I bought this to add a bevel to the boards I was adding to that.
Oh.
Which it worked like a charm. It was just easy and fast, and yeah, it made it worth buying it for that because I already had batteries. I just had to buy the tool. But then using it to flatten a slab was just fun. And it feels kind of like you're using a hand plane because you're not moving that cord around all the time like on a corded
Oh yeah, 'cause it's cordless.
planer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just surprisingly, it worked well. I know it feels like cheating, instead of a scrub plane, but I used it to do a slab of walnut that was 2 feet wide, 7 feet long, and it was pretty wonky. It was like 2.5 on one end, down to like 1.7 on the other end with a little twist. So there was a lot to remove,
Yeah.
and this thing was just
What kind of finish does it leave?
well.
Like, are
that
you
was
going
just
back
like,
over it with a jack plane or
yeah.
something?
So this was just like instead of a scrub plane, I used it like
so
that.
You just use it for hogging away material.
Yep. And so after it, I used a hand plane and then sanded.
Is it a cross grain thing mostly?
You can do whatever you want.
Really?
I was going like 45 one way, 45 the other way.
So it doesn't really care about grain.
Well, and this was walnut too, so it was kind of forgiving.
Okay.
But I think it's 3.25 wide. So you're removing a lot quickly.
Yeah.
And another cool little thing was it had the exhaust port. You could switch really quickly to shoot out chips one side or the other. So depending on what side of the slab you're standing on, you can just put them where you want, just like hit this little button.
How many batteries would you go through with that?
So yeah, that's the one downfall. It's like I did happen to have, I think it's a 6 amp hour battery, which is a good size one.
Big one, yeah.
I don't know like the amount of time, but I did swap it out. I killed that one and had to put another one in before I was done.
Isn't there like a Toshio Date story? You talk about cheating, where he was doing a seminar on I forget what it was, live edge slab, and people were sitting down and they're getting really excited to see Toshio Date like hand plane this slab, and he goes, boom, power planer.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And he said you could just feel the room go, oh. And he's like, but it works. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was just fast.
Well, doesn't he have like special DMT stones that he uses to add a bevel to his power planer blades, or
Like a little camber on
a
it?
camber to his power planer blades?
That sounds familiar.
Pekovich has talked about that before.
I thought about doing that on mine, but it's not the final pass.
Yeah.
So I just didn't do it. If you're using a final pass, you probably could if you get good with it.
I bet you feel like a rock star planing and just seeing all those chips fly. Like it'd be that.
It makes a
which
gigantic
side-
mess, but
Yeah. like when you're using a chainsaw, there's that feeling of like, yeah, I'm really like doing something.
but a chainsaw sounds cool. Like this is just like,
So it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
it doesn't sound good.
It doesn't like carry that weight
Nope.
with it. Like I'm doing work. Well,
It's just annoying. It's not as bad as a router, but it's not a happy sound.
nothing's as bad as the sound of a router. Let's be honest.
That's true.
Oh,
So have we talked enough for you to come up with a technique? Or?
see, all of mine I keep coming up with are all tools, but because I've got a good technique. Drawing a line and cutting to it. I spent the other day.
Mike isn't here, but I feel like Mike's still here with these techniques.
I spent probably 2 hours or so in Fusion 360 doing up a CAD Perfect 3D router template for the dovetail neck joint on my ukuleles.
Cool.
And I did one up. There was one reason. This is a few months ago. There's a reason why the template didn't work. So I totally forgot about it. And then last week I decided, I need to make that template or those templates. And I pull Fusion 360 back up and had to spend about an hour relearning how to use the program because it had totally left my mind. Remade the templates, hooked up my computer to the CAD, to the CNC machine, hit go, something screwed up, but that's like the way it goes with me and CNC machines. It takes 2 attempts to get it right.
You don't use it often, so
I'm always relearning, always having to tweak things. And then all of a sudden, like I touched a wire and my computer turned off and the CNC freaked out, and I haven't been able to get them to talk to each other again. And I'm pretty sure like the little Arduino, the little computer board or whatever just fried. And
It's not something I said, probably.
But so okay. I realized though, wait a minute, why don't you just print out on a piece of paper the top of this template, full scale, glue it to a piece of MDF and cut it out at the bandsaw and file to the dang line.
There you go.
And I made these templates they're simple templates, mind you. They weren't like, bending forms or which I totally think is a great use of a CNC, is making bending forms and all sorts of curves that you'd never be able to do. This was in half an hour I had both templates done. I just felt like such an idiot because it's like, you get wrapped up in the tool.
Yeah.
And you wind up like wandering down this road trying to get the tool to work when the outcome is what's really important. And these templates, even though honestly these aren't going to work, I need to do it on 1/2-inch MDF, not 1/4-inch MDF, but I'll be able to remake them easily.
Yeah.
And it's just drawing to the line, cutting to it.
That's woodworking though, right? It's like you can do any task, like in this case, 2 different ways, but 10 different ways usually.
Yeah.
Depending what tool and what you think of right then.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's take a break. Last call. Fine Woodworking Hands-On San Diego, October 4th through 6th in, of all places, San Diego, at Palomar College. We have a few classes with a few spots left. So if you are interested in hanging out with some of the Shop Talk Live crew, Mike will be there, I'll be there, Tom will be there. And hanging out with people like Michael Fortune and Vic Tesla and Chris Gochner, Mike Mahoney, Michael Cullen. Head on out to Fine Woodworking Live Hands-On San Diego. We would love to see you there. All right. Question number 3.
Let's hit it.
Question number 3 from Dave. By the way, a lot of these questions came in like this week. And I don't want anyone to get used to this kind of service around here. They were just like really well-timed questions.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah. So expect it to be 4 months. I'm a first-generation woodworker, but I've caught the bug bad. My current shop situation is a mess. Dragging tools out of a bulkhead to work outside, but I'm closing on my first house soon. Now I have some options, and I want to improve my shop situation. I have a 2-car garage, 22 by 22, and I have a 600 square foot finished basement. My 2 options are take about 200 square feet of the basement, rip up the carpet partition, and create a shop down there. 2, work out of my garage where I'm wheeling tools out and stowing them when complete. I live in New England, and taking over even part of the garage permanently is not an option for me in the winter. While it is nice to have a dedicated shop space, I thought maybe I could take some of this savings from not doing the basement shop and get a saw stop with a mobile base that I can wheel out easily and do some major work. I covet that saw and would probably want it in the basement at some point. I may just be trying to justify the purchase to myself. I would really appreciate the opinion of some pros. I don't have
So let's
many
move on to
woodworkers.
question number 4.
I don't have many woodworkers to ask in my life. So that whole like need to justify the purchase of a saw stop, you don't need to justify the purchase of a saw stop to anyone here. Just if you have the money, do it.
Right.
And I say you have 2 options. I take column A and column B.
Really? You're doing the basement and the saw stop simultaneously?
Oh, I'm doing the basement and the garage simultaneously.
And the saw stop.
If I can swing it.
Wait, the basement and the garage?
Yeah.
Oh. You hacked that question, dude.
Yeah, I Pekovic'd it.
All right. So you
Buy
want
the
to...
saw stop, get a domino too, and No, all right. So, like, hear me out. Hear me out. I don't know who he needs to justify this to. If it's just yourself, hear me out, Dave. Although the whole, like, parking in the garage thing makes me think it's not just Dave. But one thing I love about my shop is going out there for 10 minutes and doing something really, really quick. Like, need to put another coat of shellac on, need to take the clamps off, and need to blah, just the ability to go do something and then get back to my family or get back to what I was doing or waiting for people to get dressed in the morning, bop out to the shop, do a little teeny tiny thing. I could not function in a situation where I had to pull everything out every time. And I know there are people who do, like Guy Dunlop, Guy's Wood Shop. He has like everything on wheels. His wife backs her car out, goes to work. He scrambles, gets everything done, works all day, puts everything back away every single day, all day. There are people who could do it. I don't think I could do it. So I'm taking 200 square feet of the basement and putting a workbench down there. And that's where I'm doing my hand tool work and my little fiddly stuff, maybe a bandsaw.
Yeah.
And then everything else is going out in the garage.
Oh, the noisy stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a good idea. Damn.
So a couple things too.
Can we just end the podcast now?
Solved. But so he said New England. So I'm thinking if he just has the garage, then you're going to have to heat that if you want to do that all year round.
Yeah.
Where the basement, that's much easier.
That's really, yeah.
Garage may have better light. Sometimes a basement shop is, a little depressing because you have like one tiny little window.
It's finished, so I got to believe that there's lighting down there or, it's not like a 7-foot ceiling maybe. I don't know.
So that was the other thought was stand-up height. I probably would have something in my basement, but it's like 6'2".
You're 6'2".
Yeah, so you'd never feel comfortable. So those are the things I was thinking about. Heating, he's going to have to spend some money in the garage. I know he was saying you can save some money.
What kind of wiring do you have in the garage?
Yeah.
Do you have 220 out there?
Yeah.
If you don't, that's expensive. Running a sub panel, all that stuff. Oh, man. All right, fine. It's complicated. It's a mic drop situation.
No, but I like the machines outside, hand tool stuff inside.
That's good.
Because you can figure out, you can wheel stuff in and out. I'm going to joint and plane today. And you can anticipate when you need the table saw for 3 hours and just maybe park outside for those 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or work around when the car needs to be inside. That being said, the cold would just ruin my mood. You'd
have to get heating in there.
Right. Picking tools when they're cold are 1,000,000 degrees colder than the ambient air. Touching cold steel just is awful, right?
Yeah.
And
it takes a little bit of the fun out of it.
just a touch. And I remember I worked out of a garage for a while and I felt like the tools were mad at me. I have to touch a chisel. Okay. But finish and glue, you can't leave stuff out there. You need to now find a home for that, which isn't a hassle, but water stones, you can't leave them outside.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm doing basement 100%.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So if it was
the basement's absolutely, I'm doing the basement. If I could figure out a machine thing in the garage, that'd be cool, but I'm prioritizing the basement for sure.
The machines in the garage keeps a lot of the noise out there too.
Yeah, that's
if you have sleeping kids
dust
or something.
I emailed him. He doesn't have kids right now, so that changes the situation too, because that's one reason why I like to be able to run out for 10 minutes. Is So
yeah, there's trade-offs to both.
Right.
It's not an easy one.
Okay, so here's a question.
How are you gonna get lumber down the basement?
With difficulty.
I suppose he has a bulkhead where he's going in.
Hopefully.
He says He covets a saw stop, which he would probably want in the basement at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So these things are converging, you know?
Yeah.
Are you doing a saw stop first or a basement shop first? Because that sounds like where his head's at.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Am I doing a basement or a saw stop? So, like, unfinishing a basement to me, and this is maybe why I'm always broke. I think things like that are not going to be expensive. And they wind up being expensive. So, like, tearing up the carpet in a basement.
That's free.
That's free, yeah.
If he's got cement under there, he just...
Yeah, just pull it up.
Yeah.
Putting up a wall, partitioning it off, a couple $100, right? Some 2x4s, some OSB.
Yeah.
So I think that would be considered, in my head, not a shop expense. Well, yeah, it would be a shop expense, but it wouldn't like I would never take that out of my saw stop jar. You know, if I was saving money for a saw stop.
Okay.
I think that's a moving expense.
Okay.
That's more Pekovich.
Do you fold it into the mortgage payment?
Ben's got categories. He's dividing them
Right,
up.
that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I just don't think that it's a $3,000 expense like a saw stop is.
No.
I think it's a $300 expense.
And he's talking about the mobile base. Never mind. Sorry, I was thinking he wanted the contractor saw stop because he talked about wheels, but it was a mobile base. Sorry, I was wrong.
But if he's got to put heat in the garage, then he's spending
And if he's got to
more
run
money
power out to
than
the
the wall.
garage, then he's spending more. So I think saw stop in the basement. Find a way. I think you put the saw stop in the mortgage. I want a saw stop.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4 from Devin. So, like most people, when I need a run-of-the-mill mortise, I start with the drill press or router to remove the bulk of the waste. When left with round ends, I square them up with a Mortise chisel. Do I have to? I know it doesn't take that long, but if the shoulders cover the round ends of the mortise, how much strength am I losing? It's end grain to edge grain, so it can't be all that great of a glue surface. The shoulders should still be able to do their job mechanically, albeit with less contact, but in the case of, say, an apron into a leg with a sizable shoulder, what's the deal? Thoughts? So I was a little confused by this one. There's 2 possible scenarios where he is rounding the tenon, or he's just leaving a gap.
I took it as leaving a gap.
I took it as leaving a gap too.
Yeah, because if he rounds the tenon, then it's tight.
Then
and
it's
the
tight.
same if it's square around. Yeah. I think you want it to fit tight because it's adding to that strength.
I think the mechanical strength of a rounded or squared off tenon is going to be much stronger than a gappy mortise and tenon.
Yeah, because the shoulder is adding a lot to the racking force, but that tenon inside the mortise is helping with that too.
Yeah.
Farther away from the shoulder.
I think you're relying on glue a lot.
I'm thinking it's the size of the mortise and tenon, you know? Like how long is it? Because as the tenon gets smaller, approaches, like you get closer to a dowel joint, you know, which isn't a good one. But for a mortise that's really long, that's a whole ton of glue surface, right? Or if you're draw boring, a lot of resistance to the tenon splitting as you drive the peg through. So if you're doing big old joints, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd worry about it. But littler ones like furniture scale, I'd probably, like you guys, want to fill the whole thing. Am I being too cocky?
No, I think it's going to be stronger if it fits tight.
Oh, yeah,
But
for sure.
if it's, is it going to fall apart? Probably not.
All right.
Depending on, what the piece is.
Yeah. So do you guys square up mortises? So it's not a through mortise. Do you guys square up the mortise or round the tenons?
I've always squared the mortise.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever routed a mortise.
What?
I just don't do it like
Do
that.
you do the drill press thing?
Yeah, drill press and chisel.
Uh-huh.
You've never routed
It feels
think so.
ethical. Guys, I just don't
I
do
must
it.
have, but I can't think of something.
Wow.
How'd you do them on your workbench?
Yeah.
Drill press? You know
Do we
you
have
call it
video
chisel
evidence of
mortiser.
you lying?
No, I think that I did. What did I do for that?
I think you did the mortiser.
They were big.
I think I did a drill, like a handheld drill with a Forstner bit
Oh.
to get rid of a bunch of it and then chisel. And then I think I used a router with a template to clean something.
Okay.
His red rum fingers.
That was a nice little moment there.
That was like 10 years ago.
Get out.
Yeah. Close to it.
I just watched
9.
it like a week or two ago. Look at JT
It
go.
just happened. JT, you're at work. Aren't you tired? You've been working all day.
I'm sure I've used a router to make a mortise before, but not often.
Right.
So that's all I was saying. Like the rounded ends on the mortise aren't happening that often.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with rounding the ends of a tenon. That's fine. But the idea of leaving the tenon short, it doesn't feel fine to me. And it might be. I mean, it might be, but it's just one of those things where you're spending all this time doing God knows what.
Yeah.
Don't try and save 4 minutes a tenon. You know?
That's a good
I
point.
think just take joy in the process of rounding the tenon, or take joy in the process of squaring up the mortise.
Because he does say it doesn't take much time. So
Right.
Yeah.
and that's true. It doesn't take much time. It's just a couple smacks with a chisel in the corner and it's square.
I think ideally when a piece of when a joint is assembled, it should be like if you built a piece of furniture and dry fit the whole thing together, I think it should stay together fairly well without the glue. And if you're losing the mechanical advantage of the joinery of a tight mortise and tenon, there is no ifs, ands, or buts, way less mechanical advantage there. Because one of the reasons why it's so hard to pull them apart is you have to wiggle and wiggle and wiggle and pound and pound and pound to get them out. If you can just wiggle it like that, it's going to come out no problem. You're going to get no mechanical advantage from racking with a mortise and tenon with a short tenon.
It won't align itself as well during pre-assembly.
Yeah, but
it
I mean, I think it is you're losing all of the mechanical advantage in my head then.
I think you still have all, because it's the shoulders. So long as your shoulders are good, you're losing glue surface.
But the shoulders are going to leverage themselves out from racking.
But that's why you glue or draw bore. Lock that homeboy home.
Yeah, we don't know
but
if he's pegging it or not, because that's a good point too.
Yeah, now maybe if you draw board, then I would maybe argue, okay, there's little advantage to be gained from that. But glue, I don't know. As somebody who just saw like a glue piece delaminate in his dining room.
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah. I'm with you. It's a why not kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to be splitting this hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I know glue is strong, I know, but there are situations where it just stops working. And I just saw a leg delaminate on something I built. And it's just sitting in my dining room. It's not like in the elements. It's not extreme. It is not. There's no and it is pure glue failure.
Do you like
Sad.
give it the stink eye when you walk by it, or
I give it the stink eye and think about everything else that is a ticking time bomb that I've built.
oh,
So now you're wondering if it was just that bottle of glue.
Was it just that
Kind of glue?
Was it just that? Was it or is that the glue I used in the dining room table that is in the same room? And is that going to explode?
Was that glue in your unheated shop and it froze?
No, it was in the fine woodworking shop. So it was probably from like 1984.
right. It was Taya Frid's glue.
All right. Let's see. We have a comment that was left on episode 197 from KGram81. It was on the website, I believe. Hey guys, I was taking a walk with my dog yesterday and went way back to episode number 2. It just so happened that Mike's all-time favorite tool of all time for that week was a holdfast, the one he mentioned in this episode. And for anyone who didn't listen to episode 197, it sounded like Mike had never heard of a holdfast before and just discovered it and was very proud. So apparently Mike's a little forgetful.
You got sleuthed.
You
got
record
sniffed
200
out,
episodes of a podcast. This is bound to happen a time or two. All right. Anybody have any recommendations?
I do.
What?
Get a task light.
A task light,
Like
one of the springy lights.
Sure. Any little light that you keep on or around your bench that you can move to like
That's good.
zoom it, and it's made all the difference.
Yeah, that's good. Cheap.
Yeah, I think $1 from Goodwill.
Yeah,
I was like, you are a task light. And it's been fabulous.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I have like 3 clamp lights that I move around and they fall off on things as right when you don't want them to.
So you're not using the headlamp yet.
No, I haven't graduated.
See, the headlamp would keep the sweat out of your eyes too.
That's true. Ever since I
could
started
be
shaving my head, there's no sweat abatement.
Yeah.
It's just like, pfft.
So it could be like
Headlamp.
80s headbands
Yeah.
meets headlamp.
And the Umbros.
Shop attire with
Full
very deep.
circle.
More than words playing in the background.
Oh, man.
Poster of a Ferrari Testarossa on the
Yeah,
wall.
right.
Yeah,
Loving
all right.
this.
My recommendation is Lyle Brewer Music on Instagram, and just he's a guitar player. It's good shop music.
Oh.
It's like nice, quiet, well played guitar, like solo guitar music that just it's short songs. They don't get repetitive. It's just good shop music. Lyle Brewer Music.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're like making guitars and ukuleles, so it probably fits really well.
Yeah. A lot of times though, I'm listening to podcasts about people murdering other people though. And all of a sudden you're just like, this is not relaxing. So you stop and you put some jazz on.
There you go.
It's nice and relaxing then.
So these don't have to be
They don't-
woodworking related.
They don't know.
All right. So mine is to go and catch a frog. So there's a pond across the street from our house, and I've been going over there with the kids and catching frogs. And you're like instantly 5. It's like really fun. And now, like as an adult, looking at this thing really close, they're amazing. They're really cool.
For real?
Yeah. So there's like this speaker-like thing behind their eyeball that's like, I forget what it's called, like a tympian or something.
Oh. Isn't that in our ears? Don't we have a... Sorry, go on.
It looks like a little speaker, like with a little tweeter and everything. And like that's their ear.
Really?
And the other cool thing I learned about frogs, because talking with the kids and looking stuff up, this is crazy. So they catch their prey whole, right? They swallow it by pushing their eyeballs down into their mouth. That's like pushes it down.
Dude.
That's crazy, right?
That's ridiculous.
The design of that, it's like
Right.
nuts. So yeah,
Can you
get the
imagine
frog
that?
and look at it, and you're like a kid.
Man, my eyes really hurt. I had a big meal.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
These sayings all come from somewhere. I mean, that could be it. We might have just figured it out.
what, eyes bigger than his stomach? Like, I couldn't digest it. The eyes wouldn't fit down the esophagus.
The eyes wouldn't push it down.
That's wild.
Oh man. Wow. This is see, you hear it here. Shop Talk Live. So you're not like gigging them. You're just catching them and looking at them.
Oh yeah, you got to be fast. These guys, like, you miss 3 times out of 4.
And you like
You
keep them
go.
in a shoebox in the garage or something?
No, we just check them out, like put them in a bucket and let them see if they jump out.
Give them a story to tell
'em
when they
back
get
in.
back. You're never going to believe what happened to me.
Nearly swallowed my eyeballs.
I had one that I got out of my hand and dropped it, and before I like bent down to try to get it again, it jumped and hit me in the chest. Like a tiny little 3-inch long frog, like
Dude.
5 feet in the air.
And it showed you who's boss.
Right.
He was just trying to get out of there. I don't think it was on purpose, but Yeah, fun.
All right, go catch a frog.
Okay.
That's all for this episode of Shop Talk Live. If you have questions you'd like us to answer on the show, send them into shoptalk@taunton.com. Do not leave them in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, or do not, Tang is DMing me questions for the podcast now. People are DMing me questions on Instagram. This is unprofessional. I will not stand for this. Email them. shoptalk@taunton.com. If you're watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up button. There's going to be like a wave of questions, smart ass questions left on all over the internet from me now.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode.
Hashtag Ask Ben.
Thanks for listening.